This is St Mary's, Luton's parish church. I'm in Luton and I've come to the Church Cemetery. The cemetery was opened in 1860. On the right hand side as I come in, Edward Basil, aged 88 years, 1880, and then Sarah his wife, Arthur their son, and Clara their daughter. Just to the right of that you can see this garden of remembrance. People are not buried here. These are people who are almost certainly cremated, but they're remembered here with plaques and flowers. There's a lovely group of 4 memorials, matching memorials. Difficult to read the inscription, although I can see the surname is Higgins. But the stone is a bit soft and it's under a tree, which always encourages growth on the stone, making inscriptions more difficult to read. But nicely done, Higgins. A very large and clear memorial to Mary, the wife of John Cumberland of Park Square in Luton, died in 1885. And then Jeanie, the wife of Hugh Cumberland, 1897, and at the bottom we have John Cumberland. A very solid memorial to Richard Howe, who fell asleep in Jesus 1871, aged 68 years. And then Richard his son is listed below there. Sophie, widow of the late William Ellard, who died 1863, aged 81. No indication of where William is or why she wasn't buried in the same plot. We have a famous surname with Thomas Henry Walpole, 1937, aged 75. Now, being in Luton, we're right under the flight path of Luton Airport, so you hear the background noises. This is Edmund Bazley, 1887, aged 73. His wife Karina, and Alfred Williams and his wife Eva. This is at the top to Gertrude Ann, and then we have Daniel Starkings, but further down Arthur George, second son of the above, Captain 38th Battalion Canadian Infantry, killed in action in France, aged 30 years, preparing for the ministry as a student at Emmanuel College, Saskatoon, Canada. His last message home was, "A man's game, a man's part, a man's end." I'm passing a group of memorial stones. This one's to a 4 years old, 4 years and 7 months, Kieran James Mansbridge, and they put a steam engine on his stone. This commemorates Frederick James, the infant son, who died aged 10 weeks. And then Jessie, the second child of the parents, aged 3 years and 10 months. And then Mary Lucy May, eldest child, who died aged 8 years and 6 months. And then you have William Frederick, who was the father, who died aged 46. Design's a little different. Thomas Erskine Austin, 1883. His widow, Sarah Caroline. And then Albert Edward Austin, aged 18, who was presumably their son. And then Mary Austin, aged 53. It's always good when you know a little bit about the person. This is Charles Swain, of the Royal Hotel Luton, 1881, age 62. Beneath that are other members of the family. Very large tomb here with various names. And again, I apologise for the background noise, because not only do we have Luton Airport, we have a mainline train running alongside the graveyard. So this is Herbert Owen Williams, Freeman of the Borough of Luton, and his wife. And beneath that is Meredith Robert Owen Williams, Second Lieutenant, Northumberland Fusiliers, killed in action in France 1917, aged 23. There are a lot of names on this stone that show a strong connection to Wales. We've also got a busy road alongside. Another horizontal stone here for William Underwood, 1884, and his wife Sophie, 1887, and then he lists his children. 1876, oh, that's only 10 days apart. When you see two children dying so close together, you think of some outbreak of disease, quite possibly cholera. Edwin died in 1880, Mary 1925, William 1930 something, and Jane 1930. And at the bottom here, 1943. The graveyard is built on a hill, and we're slowly working our way up. As we go higher, the graves become later. We're starting to see quite a number of the war graves. And a few more of the war graves under the trees here. This one to Aircraftman First Class J. Howard of the Royal Air Force, 1944, aged 20. Lieutenant J. E. Carruthers, Royal Army Service Corps, 1943, no age given on that one. As we climb up through the cemetery, we're starting to get views across to the town of Luton. And a bit more to the right here. As we climb higher, you can see the graveyard isn't really well looked after. They might argue that it's left for nature to take its course, but it's all stinging nettles and brambles and you can't really reach the stones. A spectacular memorial to members of the Knight and Turner family. The centre one with the angel is Elizabeth Knight, the wife of Abraham Turner, 1918. And then we have various other members of the Turner family. It's a nice memorial. Just next to them we have the Goldsmith family with Frances, the wife of John Charles, 1916, and then John Charles, and beneath that their youngest daughter, Helena Constance Goldsmith. At the top of this path is the War Memorial, dedicated to those that lost their lives overseas. But it's in a strange sort of position. Feels sort of neglected up here, not in the prominent position it deserves. In fact, the whole graveyard feels a little bit neglected. Well, I'm not going to go any further in the church cemetery in Luton. I found it disappointing because of the neglect. There's very little attention being given to the graveyard. It's overgrown, stones aren't cared for. Very disappointing when I've seen some cemeteries in this country where the local authorities take great care of them. This one they've simply let go. Till the next time.